Andy Kessler writes a piece today in the Wall Street Journal, The Cure. And I assume he's talking about what's on everyone's mind, voters' minds. It is the economy, once again. The cure is cut taxes and spending. Economic growth will come from efficient supply chains and U.S. productivity. Is there any world that you can imagine, John, where you would give a thumbs up to that cure, cutting taxes and spending?
I can agree with that after we get through this transition period of the worst pandemic in 125 years, which is how we got in this mess in the first place. And we have a business plan. It's really what we really need is a business plan. And the business plan should include, of course, being the most efficient you can be. We must keep in mind, Joe, that what we're really at war with is not each other or the tax rate. We're unfortunately at war, or somebody at war with us, which is China and Russia, who wants to be us. And their governments are subsidizing everything. I'm not suggesting we should do that. I'm saying we need a business plan. And what you're really seeing in the anxiety of people is they think that while we should have a divided government, what we have is a divided people. We're really shooting at each other when we really should be figuring out whether we're better together. So yeah, if it's appropriate at the right time, then yes, cut taxes where you can create efficiency and growth, and where the pain is the highest and the gain is the lowest, which is the middle class and the poor. Frankly, as far as on income tax. So I think I've already answered your question. I'll stop.
Actually, it's today's supply side journal is, I think, really what it's called today, Kevin. Another opinion piece. The answer to defeating Putin is a supply side defense, that policy shifts after the midterms would allow us changes made to the supply side for energy would free the world from Putin's ability to hold us all hostage and to blackmail the EU. Another supply side answer. You probably are a little bit more, I guess, positive about those remedies than John, Kevin?
I'm very positive. I actually think Putin's going to get involved in a hunting accident soon. This war isn't working out for him. And if you look back at history and how it works in Russia, the outcome is not good. So that's going to resolve itself, I hope, in the next 24 months, because he's inflicted horrific hardship on people. And even within his own country, I believe they're tiring of it. Let's talk domestically, because tomorrow is a wonderful day. We are going to get a major shift in terms of policy. And when I say that, this happens all the time. This movie we've seen before. The incumbent, regardless of what party they're in, always loses seats in the House. But what I'm really excited about is what's occurring in the Senate right now. I think the Senate's going to flip too, and that will lead to what we desperately need in this country: total gridlock. No more bills, no more spending, no more taxes, no more anything for the next 2 years to give us a chance to breathe, to let this economy come out from under all these horrific policy mistakes and all this inflation we inflicted on ourselves by printing $6.7 trillion. There'll be no more printing anything. And this is a chance for small business and the American entrepreneur to take back the economy and make things blossom again. I'm very bullish about what's going to happen tomorrow. I think this is a wonderful outcome, and it's what we exactly have to have. Too much government, too much spending. Enough already. I think everybody's frustrated on both sides of the aisles, and shutting down Washington is exactly what's going to happen at midnight tomorrow. Fantastic.
What about it, John? How about just like Kevin says, maybe just take a couple of years off from using the T word for trying to fix everything, as the federal government likes to do. We're going to fix everything by using trillions to do something. How about taking a break, a hiatus?
Yeah, how about we take a break from 1943 to 1945? How about we tell Germany, which we did take a break from when they started talking about Jews from 1925 to 1940, and let nutcases run wild with fanciful ideas that became mainstream policy? How about we take a break from the 1960s, when the laws in the South started to edge out blacks and then just shut out blacks? And by the way, that then shut out the rest of the world, thinking that America was a place for freedom and democracy for all people. This is a ridiculous conversation. You don't have to lead and spend money at the same time. But let me say this, my friend Kevin benefited from everything that happened from 2000 and 2022. from Congress, including PPP, and the rest of this stuff with the Fed window, and folks watching this. Yeah, was there too much medicine, Joe? Yes, I've said it before. We probably had $2 trillion too much medicine for the patient. But as I keep saying, there was no pandemic manual that anybody pulled off the shelf. Oh, a 125-year pandemic that shuts down the entire economy, and let's go find that. We just were doing the best we could. And what we're not doing right now, Joe, is rock, paper, scissors, which is what could have happened. We're dealing with an overheated economy. We're dealing with a lot of stuff right now which we have to fix. And I'm confident, and by the way, my clients at Operation Hope, which are the most vulnerable, are actually confident, even though they agree with Kevin that there needs to be some efficiencies in government. They just don't want crazy people in office, like this guy running for the Senate here in Georgia, who can't seem to figure out whether he's an FBI agent or not. Can't quite figure out how many employees he has in his business. But what they want is the nuttiness to stop. What we've got to do is get back to sanity. Sanity has nothing to do, Joe, with writing a check. So, yeah, should we have moderation? Yes, the Bible says, that even alcohol in moderation lowers your blood pressure. Have we had too many drinks? Probably. But we're still here, Joe. The rest of the world is
almost out of time.